Thank you for having me, Sandra.
Our second speaker today is Takuzwa Jo. Takuzwa is a member of the business development team at the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. Takuzwa, may you kindly mute your mic? Thank you very much. Takuzwa is a member of the business development team at the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. He holds a bachelor's degree in natural science from the University of Zimbabwe. Takuzwa has been working at the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange for over a year. He plays a crucial role in driving the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange's growth by identifying and attracting new business opportunities, as well as providing active participation in investor education. Thank you so much, Taku, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Sandra. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Our third panelist for the day is Kelvin Mugabe. Kelvin Mugabe is the founder and the chief executive officer of Casedo Asset Management, with over 25 years banking experience spanning across commercial and merchant banking, treasury operations, and asset management. Kelvin has acquired extensive expertise in financial services, products, and operations, including operations, financial trading, portfolio or fund management, international banking, relationship management, and marketing.
Really?
Within 7 months of being licensed, Kelvin led the Casedo Asset Management to list an exchange-traded fund on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. He also won the Silver Accolade of the Outstanding CEO of the Year Awards held in December 2023 by the Zimbabwe CEO Network. Kelvin has attended various investment and portfolio management courses with the University of Zimbabwe. He attained an IOBZ diploma and holds a postgraduate diploma in finance with the University of Leicester, UK. He also has a master's degree in business administration with Nottingham Trent University, UK. Kelvin is married to Tatenda and they have 3 children, and he loves playing golf. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for joining us today.
Thank you, Sandra, and good morning to everyone.
Thank you. We're also joined today by Tavian Chauraya. Tavian is a seasoned stockbroker with over 15 years of experience in the stockbroking industry. As a dedicated professional, she specializes in providing comprehensive investment solutions tailored to meet the unique financial goals of her clients. A role that involves executing of trades efficiently to achieve the best possible outcome for clients across all markets. That is the ZSE, FinSec, as well as the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. Tavian has been a pioneer in setting up of stockbroking firms for FBC Securities in 2006 and Old Mutual Securities in 2010. She holds a BSc honors degree in statistics and is committed to staying abreast of the latest market trends and investment strategies to better serve her clients. She strives to cultivate trust and confidence with clients by delivering exceptional service and personalized investment guidance. Thank you so much, Tavian, for joining us today.
Thank you, Sandra, and good morning, everyone.
All right. Now that I've introduced all the speakers, I think we can jump right into our panel discussion today. So let me start with Takuzwa Jo. So Takuzwa, what is the VFEX and what is its role in promoting financial literacy and education?
All right. Thank you so much, Sandra, for the question. The Victoria Falls Stock Exchange is a United States dollar denominated exchange that is a subsidiary of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. We were established in the year 2020 to operate in the...
Sorry, Taku, to interrupt. May you kindly mute our mics? Dear attendees, may we kindly mute our mics? Thank you very much. Please proceed, Taku.
All right, thank you so much, Sandra. The Victoria Falls Stock Exchange was established in 2020 to operate in the special economic zone of Victoria Falls. So one of our key mandates is the facilitation of the issuance and trading of financial securities and this includes your ordinary and preference shares, your exchange traded funds, depository receipts, as well as debt securities, just to name a few. So the VFX has a primary role of the issuance and trading of financial securities, but it also plays a significant role in promoting financial education and financial literacy to our investors. So one of the key ways we do this is through conducting various investor education programs, such as these ones, especially this one on the Global Money Week. And also we conduct webinars and virtual masterclasses. We also play a significant role through our social media handles to make sure that the market is well equipped and they have all the material information that they need in making their investment decisions. I'm sure I will be able to elaborate more on this topic at a later stage. But for now, I think this is enough. Thank you, Sandra.
All right, thank you so much, Taco, for that response. It was quite insightful. So perhaps a question for Mejuri. Mejuri, what services are currently being offered by the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? So say I'm an investor, I would like to know what services you're offering.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandra, for that question. So as the stock exchange, our main mandate is to facilitate capital raising through the primary market. So on the primary market, it is when corporates or governments that want to raise funds come in and meet with investors who usually part ways with a larger sum of money for a bigger stake in the company. We then go further to offer a secondary market for the trading of these shares, which is the daily trading that most investors, most retail investors are aware of. That's the daily buying and selling of trades after the listing of the company, after the primary market issuance. Then some of the services that we do offer are market data. So as you are aware, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is a long-standing exchange. Trading has been happening since back then, and we have a database that we do keep market data for the exchange. So if you are in need of this data, it can be for researches. We have that database available and at the disposal of the clients. We also offer regulatory services to our members who are the stockbrokers and market makers, and also the issuers who are the listed companies on the exchange. So we make sure that all the listed companies are transparent enough for the investors and they can get all the necessary information that might have influence on the share price or valuation of these companies. We also do offer investor education services. We do that and we can do it on site. That is, you can visit our offices, you can be a walking client, it can be a school, an institution that wants to come to our offices and get some information about the capital markets. We are open to that. We are also open to coming to your schools, your companies, to administer these investor education services. We also have a training institute. You can visit our website for that. It doesn't only focus on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, but we tried to make sure that it entails what the whole capital market ecosystem is about. And enrollment on this platform is free of charge. You can simply enroll, read the modules that are available, and after the end of each module, there is a short quiz so that you get an idea of what you have mastered and what you might really need to work on in order to be accustomed of what the capital markets is all about. We also offer depository services who are responsible for the settlement and clearing of shares after the trading on our trading platform. So I think I can say these are the services that we do offer. And specifically going into offering the trading platform for secondary trading of securities. We have quite a number of securities that are currently listed on our exchange that are easily tradable on our platforms. So we have equities, we have real estate investment trusts, we also have ETFs. So these are currently the securities that we have trading on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much, Majid, for that very elaborative response. Perhaps before I proceed to my next panelist, may we kindly make sure that our mics are muted so that we do not get feedback when our panelists are responding to the questions. And then if you've got a question in between or for a specific panelist, kindly make sure that you make use of the chat box. You can type in your question into the chat box. And before I forget, Tevian brought us some very nice goodies that we'll be giving away today. So those goodies are going to be given away to people that are going to be very participating in this webinar. Who knows? If you are lucky, you might be one of the participants to get those goodies. So please make sure that you pay attention. Make sure that you are very attentive, as we'll be giving away a few goodies. So my next question goes to Tavian. So I've had Medjuri and Taku mentioning about the services that they offer, trading of securities, etc., etc. So now I'm wondering, what is the role of a broker? Where do you come in as the broker in terms of trading, in terms of the services that are offered by either the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange or the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange?
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. The first, like what Takudzwa and Majuri have elaborated earlier on, where we have got all those, the ETFs, the equities that are trading. The role of a stockbroker is to, first of all, to complete the onboarding of the client. For example, an individual wants to join, wants to buy or maybe to sell his or her own equities on either the VFX or the ZSE, because we are licensed to trade on all those exchanges. So what they do is the broker, there's you can actually join either digitally, or you can actually be onboarded when you come directly to us, the stockbroking firms. So we complete the onboarding so that you can be able to be allocated a trading account, a CST account, or an EDS account, so that you can be able to buy shares or sell your shares on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So after the onboarding, we don't leave you there and we actually help you in terms of if you come directly, we handle your orders. If you place an order, we buy for you. And then we also update you on what has happened. If you've done so digitally, we also help in ensuring that those shares, they actually settle into your trading account, your CSD account. And then we also give you the advisory services in terms of if you are not sure with what's happened, or maybe you saw some article that has been flighted on the social media or something like that, you actually have to, do I buy Econet? Do I sell Econet? Do I hold Econet? We, as the stockbrokers, we are at your service to assist on that front, to give you all the fundamentals that you would have done behind, and also to advise you on the risks that are involved in that maybe particular counter at that particular time. So basically, that's what a stockbroker does. And also, if you sell your shares, when it comes to settlements, we actually do the settlement of the shares in terms of you receiving your funds, ensuring that you receive your funds. If it's shares that you have bought, you actually have your shares in your portfolio. And any other information that you would require with regards to the markets.
Thank you so much, Tevin, for that insightful response. I hope we are noting down. And just to remind you once again, I've been given some goodies to give away by Old Mutual. So these ones I'll be giving to the individual that will be participating the most. So if you've got a question, please make sure that you make use of the chat box. Or at the end of the session, we will open up for question and answers where we will allow you to unmute your mics. So my next question is for Calvin. So I think when we started this discussion, I did mention that the theme for this year's Global Money Week is protect your money and secure your future. So this one, Calvin, why would you say it's important for one to secure their financial future?
Thanks, Sandra. That's actually a very important question. Why is it important to secure your future? There are two main reasons. Number one, you yourself cannot be working forever, right? There will come a time where you become incapacitated. So you cannot keep working forever. So it then becomes important for you to secure your future. So that's absolutely important. I'm just getting a bit of a technical glitch here. I just need to know if you can hear me. But like I said, that is sorry.
Hi, Kevin. We did lose you a bit at the beginning, but we can hear you.
Now you can hear me. Okay, so maybe let me just, I'm not sure where you had lost me, but let me just place emphasis on the one point that the number one reason why it's important for you to secure your financial future is because you cannot be working forever. It is not possible because of natural attrition. There will come a time where you become incapacitated because of age factors. And number two, there may be other factors that may lead to your inability to be able to work with your own hands. Therefore, it becomes absolutely important for you to secure your financial future. And that security is done through working through other people. For example, we are investment managers, and our role is to make sure that we do the management of your portfolio for you with the view to ensuring that your future is secured. So maybe in a nutshell, that's what I could say is the importance of securing your financial future. You cannot be working forever. There are various reasons as to why you may become incapacitated. So that would be my immediate response to that. Sandra, back to you.
Thank you so much, Calvin. That is quite an inspiring response. I think it's important to take note of some of the things that you suggested. I am looking at the chat box right now, and I can say that keep those questions coming. We are coming to those questions. Please keep on typing those questions in the chat box. So let me just quickly go back to Taku. Taku, what would you say what would you say, how would you say perhaps a retail investor like myself who probably does not have a lot of money to get started in terms of investing on the VFX, how would I go about starting the whole investment journey?
All right, thank you so much, Sandra. That is a very good question. So for retail investors or for investors on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, the registration process and the process to start your trading journey is a very seamless process, and it's quite an easy one. So the first and most important thing is we have a mobile application that retail investors can use to execute and start their trading journey. And this application is called VFEX Direct. So you can access this application through your mobile phone or through a web browser. So the application is also compatible with both Android and iOS system, and you can access it on either app or on Google App Store or Apple App Store as well. So when completing your registration through this platform, the first thing that happens is you see a button that says register and start trading. So you click on that button, and then you are then extended to the next page where you have to select a broker. So selecting a broker, in short, is touched through this whole process and what the duties of a broker are. So when you click on select a broker, there's a drop down that comes with all the brokers that are members of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, where you can just as easily select one, and then you will be prompted to go to the next page where you have to input all your registration details. That is your KYC details, your personal details, which includes your name, surname, ID number, and other relevant information. So after putting all that information, you are then required to upload your KYC documents, which is your proof of residence. which can be a utility bill or a bank statement, or if it is not within your name, it has to be attached with an affidavit that confirms that is your place of residence. You also have to upload a picture of your ID, just the front side of it, for identification purposes, and also a headshot of yourself or a picture to use as a profile picture for your VFX Direct account. So after that, that whole process is completed, we can then see your account. The VFX Direct team will be able to see your account from their side, and will also be able to approve your account. And after that approval, it then goes on to the broker, who is also able to onboard you and assign you an EDS number, as Steven has said. After this whole process, that is where funding is now required. So funding on VFX Direct, for now, you can fund using two methods. One of them is in-bucks, and the other one is through a bank transfer. So you have to have a Nostro account, or you have to, if you want to use in-bucks, you can as easily deposit your funds using in-bucks, and the process is quite seamless as well. So after the deposit, you can then start buying and selling shares on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And one of the key benefits, or one of the key mandates that the VFX has put in place to make sure that all the retail investors are well incorporated in the investment journey, is the minimum amount that any investor can deposit on the VFX Direct platform is as little as $10. So you can go as low as that to start your trading journey on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Taku. So I've got a question for Tavian. We've heard about how to get started on the exchange. We've heard about the roles. So what advice would you give an investor that is beginning their investment journey, who are looking to start their journey on the stock market? What advice would you possibly give that individual?
Okay, so first of all, I think I'll begin quoting what Warren Buffett says. It says risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. That's what Warren Buffett says. So the first thing that I would say to all the individuals is educate yourself and read wide about the stock market. And secondly, plan and set clear goals. I would say have a clear strategy on what you want to achieve. And then the second thing is start small, and you can grow your portfolio gradually and invest consistently. And then also the fourth thing, I would say diversify your portfolio. When I mean by diversify, don't maybe there's get into another sector, banking sectors, mining sectors. Diversify your portfolio as long as the entry points permit is if it's the right price to buy those shares. So that's another thing. And then the fifth thing that I'll talk about is avoid over trading. Don't trade for the sake of trading, to just click and buy and whatever, but avoid that system of over trading. I know sometimes you become so excited and you feel like everything is, just need to buy anything. Don't just buy any counter, don't just buy any equities for the sake of buying, but have your analysis that you've done before. If not sure, please seek advice from your stockbroker. And then I think lastly, I would say stay informed about the market trends, the developments, and also the economic trends, even the political side. Make sure that you are informed with what happens out there. Because what happens in the economic front, or in the market, in the whatever developments that happen, they have an effect on our market. So make sure that you are informed. Otherwise, you end up buying something that would actually be having negative news outside the market, out in the market there. So that's basically what I would say for beginners. Before you start trading, have that information.
Thank you very much, Tavian, for that response. Now, I think as a follow-up to what Tavian was talking about, maybe Kelvin, you can share in more insights in terms of when an investor is looking into investing, perhaps they would like to do their own research. What sources of information are there, or what do they look for when they're doing a research in terms of what do I invest in? What possibly can an investor look at when they're thinking about investing on the stock market in terms of their analysis, etc.?
Okay, thanks very much, Sandra. First and foremost, before I talk about what they actually need to look for in terms of information, I will just highlight one of the risks of trying to do it yourself without, complete expertise. I think half knowledge is just as dangerous, is perhaps even more dangerous than no knowledge at all. So my advice would be that until you get to a point where you now have the expertise to be able to analyze and research in the markets, why don't you rather take advantage of service providers such as asset managers and stockbrokers who are better equipped and better educated and better experienced in terms of managing. However, should you decide to manage the portfolio yourself, first and foremost, as stockbrokers and asset managers, we also produce research reports that are available to the market. Because what we do is we go to the primary source, which is perhaps the listed companies. They produce their annual reports and financials, which have a lot of information in terms of how the operations are going, the financial performance, the outlook, the strategies that are in place, and you can also make a judgment in terms of management. So as far as the stock market is concerned, whether it's the Victoria Falls Exchange or the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, the first port of call is the listed companies themselves. If you are aggressive and a bit adventurous, you can even demand a meeting with the management of any of those listed companies. You can demand a meeting with the fund managers for the exchange traded funds and the real estate investment trusts. You can, look for information from there. You can also have what are called tour of operations, where you actually go on site and look at the underlying companies, and look at the operations on the ground and make an informed decision. Then, of course, you need to be widely read insofar as the newspapers are concerned, just to understand the daily activities that are taking place, which can help you form an opinion regarding the counters or the investments that you'd like to make. So in a nutshell, that's how I would advise you to look at it. But yes, taking into account the fact that there are people who are specialized in managing your portfolios, you can take advantage of those and leverage off their expertise. Back to you, Sandra.
All right. Thank you very much, Kelvin. Perhaps let me just ask you another one, Kelvin, before you go. So perhaps someone might be wondering that we've been mentioning about investing. Earlier on, we spoke about the importance of getting return on your money. So now the question is, why can I not just keep my money under the mattress? Why should I even think about investing that money? Ways I can save up that money and just put it under the mattress.
Oh, very good question there. So maybe before I talk about the why part, why can't I just do it myself? Let me just highlight or maybe make reference to previous speaker who mentioned about the asset classes. So whenever we are investing, there are asset classes that we have to consider. It's either money market, equities, real estate, or commodities. Now, each of those have special characteristics, and they help us to achieve certain objectives. So when you put your money under the mattress, the key question is, what is your objective? So there are three known objectives in the investment world. The first one is income. The second one is capital preservation, where you just want to preserve your capital. The third one is capital appreciation, where you want your money to grow. So if you put your money under the mattress, it means that the only objective that you're going to achieve, assuming that you are investing in a stable currency, the only objective there is capital preservation. So you're saving and you're only achieving preservation, assuming that the money is in a stable currency. Now, to answer the question, why is it dangerous for you to do that? It's because of the risk associated with putting your money under the mattress. Suppose one day someone just discovers the whole parcel of notes under your mattress, and you're done. Or maybe there's a break-in your house, or there's a fire, or God forbid, there are rats in your house, and they love notes, these rats. So you're at high risk, and it's concentration risk as well. You're supposed to diversify your portfolio. A portion of it, perhaps a small portion under the mattress, but the greater part of it must be invested in different asset classes which help you to achieve other objectives. So there's always that risk of doing it yourself. Then, of course, there's the risk of investing in the wrong asset class. If you have not been trained insofar as understanding the objectives of each of these asset classes, you may find yourself invested in the wrong asset class. For example, you could be invested in the money market where inflation, the rate of inflation is higher than the rate of return. That means that you are actually achieving what are called negative real returns, which means that you're actually losing value where you think you are preserving value. So that's what I would say. And we'll be happy to take further questions if there's need for clarification. Back to you, Sandra.
Thank you very much, Calvin, for that explanation. Perhaps let me go to Tavian. Tavian, would you say it is wise for someone to invest in this current hyperinflationary environment?
Certainly, Sandra, it's a difficult time to invest in a hyperinflationary environment. But what I would say, if you check in terms of the state pensions that are there at the moment, whereby you find NASA is running your pensions, and given the hyperinflationary environment, you find that the pensioners, the government cannot cope with maybe the rate of inflation that is going on. So I would say, as an individual, it's always better to supplement or to invest on aside so that you can boost your pensions. I would say investing on the stock market, Sandra, it might have, like 2008, 2009, it would have acquired a bad reputation during that period of hyperinflation. I think everybody can attest the time whereby things were just going up every day. You buy a share this morning, so at the end of the day, what I would say, when you invest in that environment, look, can you invest correctly? Your investment or your stock selection should be done correctly. It should be based on some informed stock selection that takes into account the fundamentals, the macroeconomic outlook, and also the market timing. That can actually give you positive yield. That's the reason that I actually mentioned earlier on, to say, you know what, in terms of you find somebody just picks up any share for the sake of buying without doing the necessary analysis before picking up the stock. So definitely I would say yes, because you end up earning peanuts that you get on when you retire. Like what Kelvin mentioned earlier on, that we won't be working forever. So that can actually, you'll be caught with that, and you get something that will be like almost close to zero when you retire. So definitely yes, I would say yes, but at the same time, make sure that you pick your stocks wisely.
Thank you very much, Tavian, for that response. So now I will be going to the chat box to see the questions that are in the chat box. And let me remind you again to say that I am really watching closely to see our most active participants in the chat box there. So the first question that we have is from Tapiwa Nashe. What initiatives or strategies is the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange implemented or planned to improve the bond market in Zimbabwe? What initiatives or strategies has the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange implemented or planned to improve the bond market in Zimbabwe? Perhaps Marjorie can be able to answer that.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for that question. So the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is trying to do a lot, not only to revive just the bond market, but to improve listings, general listings on our exchange. So we have a prospective issuers training program that we have recently launched, and the first session is going to start next month. And after we have equipped all these prospective issuers with the necessary information of what it entails to be a listed company, we are going to also be helping them in identifying ways they can raise funds on our exchange. And for those who see bonds most applicable to their company situation, we are always going to channel them towards that area. And also we have the bond market.
Apologies, Marjorie, for that. Participants, may we kindly mute our mics? Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks for that. As I was saying, we also have the Bond Market Association that is going to launch very soon. And this association is going to be specifically driving the bond market on the ZSE and also on the VFEX. So it's going to be focusing simply on that because we have seen there is need for us to really revive the bond market. Thank you, Sandra, for that question.
All right, thank you very much, Marjorie, for that response. I hope, Tapiwa Nashe, you are answered. The next question says, can I have examples of stockbrokers where can I access them? So in terms of the list of all the stockbrokers that are there, what I'll do is I will put in a link in the chat box where you can find the list of all registered stockbrokers with the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange as well as the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And then the next one is how long does it take to withdraw from the stock exchange account? That's a question from Arnold. Arnold, I'm not sure whether you're referring to withdrawing money from your either ZSE direct account or VFX direct account for that money to reflect in your bank account. But perhaps I'll just assume that that is what you mean. Perhaps Marjorie can also be able to assist on this one.
Okay, thank you again for that. So on our mobile platforms, that's the ZSE and VFEX Direct, it takes up to 24 hours for your monies to be transferred from the direct account to your account when you withdraw. But mind you, there is a cutoff time of when we can process these withdrawals. So whenever you want to make a withdrawal, I advise that you process your withdrawal request before 10 a.m. because that's the cutoff time that we use to process withdrawal requests for that particular day. So whenever you put in your request after 10, it means that it's going to be in tomorrow's batch of withdrawal requests processing. So it takes up to a maximum of 24 hours. 24 working hours, by the way, because we have had situations where someone puts in a withdrawal request at 3 p.m. On a Friday, and the exchange won't be open during the weekends. So it takes a leg. So make sure that you try as much as you can to put in your withdrawal requests during the week, and before 10 is most ideal for your withdrawal request to be processed on that very same day.
All right, thank you, Marjorie, for that response. I hope our attendees answered. And then the next question, Tavian, you did mention that as you're a member of the ZSE, the VFX, as well as the FinSec, and someone here is asking to say, what is the difference between a FinSec and ZSE?
Okay, the difference is the difference between VFX and ZS. Okay, the difference between FinSec and ZSE are the counters that are listed on those markets. They both trade in ZWL, but on the FinSec, mainly we have what they call the Old Mutual Zimbabwe counter that is we call it OMZIL, that is listed on the FinSec. And then the ZSE, you've got your almost 60 counters, your Deltas, Econest, those that are still trading on ZWL.
All right, thank you very much for that response. Perhaps the next one is for Calvin, which is saying, it's a question from Hop. He's saying, what is the right time to invest in the stock exchange? What would you say would be the right time for someone to start investing on the stock exchange?
Many thanks. That's a brilliant question. When we are investing on the stock exchange or advising our clients to invest on the stock exchange, there are two major considerations. One is what we call fundamental analysis, which deals with what to invest in. And then the other is technical analysis, which deals with when to invest. So your question deals with the technical analysis side of things. And just borrowing a little bit from Warren Buffett, he says, buy when everyone else is fearful, and then sell when everyone else is greedy. In other words, you buy low and sell high. So the most important thing is, when can you say that the market is low? The market is low at a time when valuations are actually suppressed. We as asset managers always have an understanding of the value, the actual underlying value of each of the counters, and we are then able to compare with the market value of each of those counters. And at any given time, we can tell that now the counter is trading lower than its intrinsic value, and it has potential to grow. So the time to buy is always whenever there is a bear run, or when the valuations are lower than the market value is lower than the intrinsic value. So that is a skill that cannot be answered with the one word. It's actually a practice that we need. And at any given time, you may find that one counter may be trading in such a way that it's time to sell, whereas another counter is trading in such a way that it's time to buy. So this is now the skill that we employ as asset managers in managing your portfolio. Yeah, I think I'm done. Over to you, Sandra.
All right, thank you very much, Calvin. I see there's a follow-up to that. This one I'll give it to Marjorie. Marjorie, what is the minimum that one can invest on the ZSE? And perhaps once you're done explaining that, Taku, can you also perhaps come in to explain the minimum on the VFX?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So on our mobile platform, the ZSE Direct, the minimum amount you can deposit into your account is 10,000 RTGS, 10,000 Zimbabwean dollars, sorry. And the minimum that you can withdraw, I believe, is also 10,000 ZWL.
Thank you, Marjorie. Yes, please go ahead.
All right. I think I had mentioned this before, but for the sake of clarity, the minimum amount that anyone can invest on the VFX Direct platform or to start your investment journey, it's as little as $10, and it's 10 United States dollars on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange.
All right, thank you very much, Taku, for that response. There's the next one, which is also a follow-up from Hope to say, I'm a resident of Hwange district, which is the home of VFX. What are some of the products which are readily available for investment? Maybe Taku can assist Hope there. He's saying he's a resident of Hwange district. What are some of the products which are readily available for him to invest on VFX?
All right. Just to begin with, as Majuri was suggesting earlier on, that we also offer investor education services as a walk-in client. Since you are a resident in the Hwange district, you can as well visit our offices for a more enticing conversation with us, and we will be able to assist you further regarding your trading and investment journey. So currently on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, we have 14 listed counters that are trading, and 11 of them are equity instruments, 2 are depository receipts, and one is a bond. So all those investment vehicles are available for trading, and you can create a VFX direct account, or you can visit your broker for them to be able to assist you regarding whether or not which particular counters you need to buy, or which one your risk and return profile. So these are the instruments that are available for trading, and you are not limited to choosing any one. And one of the other key things that you should consider as well is to make sure that you are always diversified when you're investing on the exchange. So there's a saying that goes by you should not put all your eggs in one basket. So you should make sure that your portfolio is diversified, and you have investment in different market segments, and in different securities that are of different nature. Thank you so much, Sandra.
All right, thank you very much, Taku, for your response. The next question is from Arnold. He's saying, why is it not possible to change old bank account to a new bank account on my stock exchange account? Perhaps Majuri can assist Arnold on that one.
Okay, the reasons why we do not give account holders the ability to edit, it's not just banking details, but once you've completed creation of your account, it's hard for you to edit any information that you haven't put it there. So the reason why we do that, it's a control measure. Just in case anyone has access to your account, they can easily change your banking details that are there to theirs. And once they do a withdrawal request, we are transferring money to the bank account that's on your account. So as a control measure, whenever you want to change your banking details, just email our ZSE Direct email, which is zse.co.zw. Just email us with your new banking details, and also make sure that you use the email address that you used to create your account. Once you give that request using a different email address, there's no way for us to verify that it's really you. So use the account that you used when you created your account, and request for a change in banking details. So you would need to make sure you clearly state the bank name, the branch, and your account number.
All right, thank you very much, Majuri, for that response. I indeed hope that you have been answered. The next question says, Edgar's is highlighted to be moving from ZSE to VFX. What will happen to our current ZSE shares? So on this question, let me just maybe I'll allow Majuri to answer the first part, and then Tevian will add on to the second part in terms of the role that they will play to ensure that your shares, they do reflect on the other side when they get to VFX. So Majuri, may you please take us through your role that or how the process is going to happen, and Tevian will add on in terms of what eventually happens when you're on the VFX side.
Okay, thanks for that, Sandra. So I'm sure most of you are well aware that this is not the first migration from the ZSE to VFEX. And the process has been smooth with the previous migrations. And how it happens is, as long as you are a shareholder of Edgar's, you will continue to hold your stake as long as you do not sell before it migrates. So in terms of what the role that we play as the exchange, when the counter migrates to the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, the first step is to establish an issue price on VFEX. And it's usually the USD price of the counter converted at the interbank rate on the day that the counter migrates to Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And also to allow for price discovery on this new exchange, we open our circuit breakers. As you're aware, circuit breakers on VFX are at 20%. So to allow for proper price discovery on this new exchange, we open our circuit breakers to 100%, and the market can determine the correct valuation of this counter on the VFEX.
Okay, and just to add on what Marjorie has said, once we have the Edgars is migrated, what we do is these shares will be in a suspense account. So we need the client to either visit us or get in touch with the stockbroker, and then you open a VFX a direct account. If you have, we'll actually have to complete as a broker. We'll do a transfer of the shares from. We'll send some forms to ZSE VFX clients to transfer the shares so that they can reflect into your VFX account. That is for Edgars, but you need to contact us, your stockbroker that you're dealing with.
Thank you very much, Tevian, for that response. Let's move on to our next question. Oh, it's a comment. It's saying that thank you for the presentation, team. Quite insightful. Thank you so much, Emson, for attending. We really do appreciate. Then Sekai says, using VFX Direct or C-Trade to access VFX, is it the same thing in terms of costing, i.e. brokerage fees, withdrawal charges, etc.? Perhaps Marjorie can assist.
Thank you, Sandra. So in terms of statutory costs, they are the same across the board. So the brokerage fee, it's standard. The SEC levies, the ZSE levy, depository levies, they are all standard, and it doesn't differ whether you're using whoever broker you're using, and even if you're using different platforms like C-Trade and VFEX or ZSE Direct. What might differ is probably maybe the withdrawal charges, because these are administered by the independent mobile platform providers. So you might need to do your research or even get in touch with the C-Trade guys to see how much they charge you in terms of you withdrawing. But in terms of all statutory costs, they are the same across the board, no matter what platform you're using to trade.
Thank you very much, Marjorie, for your response. Sekai, I hope you are answered. Next one is from Nicholas. He's saying, is there a way to protect long-term investors from government policy inconsistency? Many were bent by 1:1 policy. Perhaps, Kelvin, you may assist Nicholas there.
Thanks, Nicholas, for a relevant question, given what people have experienced. And the answer is yes, it is very possible to protect yourself to a great extent. What do I mean by to a great extent? Because there are certain investments or asset classes that are independent of what is going on with respect to the monetary authorities. For example, if you are invested in the real estate asset class, it really does not matter, for example, which currency is in use. Your investment is in brick and mortar. So for that reason, it's possible to protect yourself to that extent. So what is important is to always have investments that have an underlying asset which is tangible. These are called asset-backed securities. So it's very possible to protect your long-term investment. And then, of course, there are other investments which are more innovative, which are, for example, cattle-backed, where you can have investments whose underlying investment is actually cattle, which again are immune and independent to what is happening with the monetary authorities. So my answer would be, to a great extent, it is possible, not to the full extent, but to a very great extent. And what is important is to always understand the asset class that you're invested in, because each asset class has specific characteristics. Over to you. I hope I've been able to answer the attendee there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, for that elaborative response. I do indeed hope that, Nicholas, you are answered. And then there is a comment from Tatenda to say, currently, if you sell shares on ZSE Direct, the funds are not immediately available to purchase other shares. There appears to be a bit of lag, unlike C-Trade, where the funds are immediately available to trade. Can this be addressed? Tatenda, perhaps I would suggest that immediately after this meeting, may you kindly get in touch with us. We have taken note, and we're going to be addressing that issue. Perhaps we'll just type in our contact details in the chat box there, and then you just send us an email. We will be able to assist you with that. And also, we'll also look at that issue broadly to see where the problem is in terms of the turnaround time. So the next question, unfortunately, I cannot say the name. It says, so for the broker, there is no need to get in touch with them first. So I suppose this is when you are using your ZSE Direct and VFX Direct account. Taven, this one is for you to say, is there any need for the investor to be in touch with you before they open an account, during the opening account processes, or after the account opening process?
Okay, definitely I would say when you're using the digital platform, if you maybe in case you get any glitches, but usually there's the communication between the backend where you guys have submitted your forms. We actually receive them from this side where we are trying to onboard you. But I would say the minimum interaction with the broker. But if you need any assistance, you can get in touch. But otherwise, when you're setting up the account onboarding, when you're placing your orders, it's only maybe when you get the glitches that when you're trying to trade that you can get in touch with us.
All right, thank you very much, Tavian, for that. Just to add on to what Tavian says, it's more like your digital platforms. You've made it easier for you to invest without having to go through the traditional methods. However, your broker still has good access to the information through the back end. And also, if you need any assistance, please feel free to get in touch with your selected broker. So moving on to our next question in the chat box. It's from Agnes. The corporate bond market, what is the current status? Are there any opportunities for asset creation in corporate bonds? I believe that perhaps Majuri touched on in terms of what the ZSE is doing in terms of the bond market. Perhaps maybe Kelvin, you might want to answer the bit that talks about asset creation in terms of different asset classes that can be created in corporate bonds.
Absolutely. That's actually a very important market when you consider the investment universe. So currently, there's been some activity in this market insofar as corporate bonds are concerned. So what is very critical is to look at the currency that is in use. When you have ZIM dollar-based corporate bonds, they are unlikely to be attractive to the investor for the reason that the rate of return would typically be lower than the rate of inflation. So for that reason, it is difficult to create US dollar-based corporate bonds. However, with respect to US dollar corporate bonds, there's plenty of opportunity. And I'm grateful to the ZSE and the VFX for the investor education and the initiatives that they are doing and putting in place to ensure that the bond market starts to come alive. If you look at the developed markets in the developed world, the bond market is so vibrant. And I'm just looking forward to seeing an increase in activity in that space. So the answer is yes, there's plenty of opportunity as long as you just have the right investment horizon in terms of time period and the correct interest rates to attract investors. So yeah, we're looking forward to that market, and the opportunities are plenty. Back to you, Sandra.
All right. Thank you very much, Calvin, for your response. The next one is from Dean. I think this one is for Taku. I think you mentioned Inbox and Nostro account in terms of funding your VFX direct account. Does this also include EcoCash USD?
All right. Thank you so much, Sandra. So for now, the VFX direct funding methods are just the Inbox platform, as well as a transfer using your FCA account. And we are engaging with many participants for now, and we'll try by all means to make sure that there are a number of ways that investors can use to make sure that they are depositing funds through the convenient ways that they are using, for example, with EcoCash USD. But currently, it is not yet supported on VFX Direct, but we will be updating the market as soon as the developments are made. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Taku, for your response. I do indeed hope that the attendee is answered. The next one is from Tetenda Gondo. I am Tetenda Gondo from Mwenezi, a young farmer. I'm interested in financial inclusion in rural smallholder farmers in irrigation schemes, given they have the liquidity when exporting high-value crops. Do you have any channels for awareness of those markets and rural areas, maybe at rural townships or rural high schools? Perhaps Marjorie, you may assist.
Okay, thank you, Tatenda, for that question. So I think I'm going to answer this in two parts. The first one targeting you as a farmer and the small agricultural irrigation schemes. And the second part being about investor education in high schools and other remote areas. So as a young farmer who is seeking to raise finance, like I said earlier, we have a prospective issuers training program. So for you to know more about what it entails to be a listed company, if you want to raise capital through the stock exchange, I think this program would be ideal for you as the farmer or a corporate of farmers, for you to get accustomed with information of what it entails for you to be a listed company or corporate, and how you can raise funds through the exchange. So you can visit our website events.zse.co.zw to know more about this training program for prospective issuers who want to raise funds through the exchange. And now the second part being about investor education in rural areas. We are very much keen to make sure that there is financial inclusion even among those who are in remote areas. So it's not just us who is driving this mandate. We also have our regulator in support of it. Last week, there was a drive in Saka, particularly targeting these remote areas, particularly the Saka area, in terms of educating them on what the capital market is about. So we are very much active on trying to make sure that the word about the capital markets reaches everyone across the board.
Thank you very much, Marjorie, for your response. So I've put in the link in the chat box for all our registered stockbrokers, as well as the email address for any ZSE Direct related queries. So if you've got any queries, please kindly make use of the email address. So the next one is for Taku. Wop is saying, how comfortable is Tekuzwa sharing his mobile contacts for follow-up conversations? So Taku, may you kindly just type in your email address in the chat box so that if there's anyone that is interested in having a conversation with you, they can be able to talk to you. And then the next question is any literature you would recommend for reading about the stock market? Is there any literature, perhaps, Tevian, is there any literature you would recommend for reading about the stock market?
Yes, I would say initially, number one, company reports, because each company would actually issue their financials. Make sure that you read, you also go through their financials so that you know how the company that you're investing in is doing. And also there are some economic indicators, and I think you've heard, I think Kelvin, the rest of the team quoting Warren Buffett. Those are some other books that you can read, because Warren Buffett is actually some guy that I actually follow, who knows about the stock market. And also data sources. I would say avoid most. If you are not sure, please go to your broker and ask for information, because you don't want to be there's a lot of media that goes on the social media, that goes on information that goes on the social media. Some of them they are not very you can't follow that. Make sure that you verify every information with your stockbroker, but read wide in terms of the company financials, the company reports. That's basically what I would say.
All right, thank you very much, Tevian, for your response. I hope our attendees answered. And then the next question is from Tatenda to say, is it possible to pay dividends directly into the ZSE or VFX direct accounts so they can be reinvested without incurring any bank charges? Judy, may you kindly assist?
Thank you, Tatenda, for that question. So it makes it difficult for your dividends to be remitted into your mobile platform account. Why? Because it's not the exchange per se who remits these dividends to individuals. So dividends are remitted by transfer secretaries of the respective companies. And what they have is your KYC with your banking details, your individual banking details. Hence, they can only remit these dividends or coupon payments if you're invested in a bond only to your individual bank account and not necessarily to your mobile trading account, as it is not a proper bank account that anyone can easily deposit money into.
Thank you once again for that response. The next one is from Tatinda Gonde as well. Is saying, or possible, any chances of any educational tours are there any chances of educational tours for either the ZSE or the VFX?
Okay, I think we have reiterated, myself and Sakuzwa, that we are open to educational tours or sessions. You can come to us, we can come to you. If you want us to arrange anything virtual, we are open to administer these educational seminars or
All right, thank you very much. The next one is from ZB, says for Takuzwa, the VFX direct site seems to be freezing when one attempts to upload their KYC document. Could you please assist?
All right, ZB, we are very sorry for the inconvenience that has been caused in the process of uploading your KYC documents. So what you can do is you can get in touch with us through our email address. I will also, I have typed in my email address in the chat box. I will also type in the VFX direct email address so that you can be able to send us your details as well as your KYC document. And we will be able to upload them on our side. And you can just as well share a screenshot of the error that you are facing so that we will be able to resolve it from this side as well.
Thank you so much, Taku. There's also Tatiana saying, can we also get Old Mutual stockbrokers' contacts? My broker is from Old Mutual, but I do not have their contacts. So Tavian, may you kindly just also type in your contact details there so that if there's anyone that needs to get in touch with you, can be able to be in touch. The next question is, how do I invest in REITs? Are there brokers that are specifically for that? And as a retail investor, what is the minimum that is required to start investing in REITs? Tavian, may you kindly assist Nyasha there? He's saying, how do I invest in REITs? Are there brokers that are specifically for that? And as a retail investor, what is the minimum that I'm required to start when investing in REITs?
Okay. REIT is also listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, just like any other counter, just like your Delta, your Econet, your CBZ. So the same way that you go on the ZSE Direct, because it's trading in ZWL, then the minimum was still the same on the ZSE Direct. The minimum, like Takudzwa and Major mentioned, 10,000 RTGS. You go to the ZSE. Either if you want, you can actually go through the digital platform, the ZSE Direct platform, and then you choose a broker of choice, Old Mutual, assume, and then you actually have a CSD account so that you can be able to trade the REITs. But it's the same way that you are onboarded for the ZSE counters, the same minimum.
Thank you very much, Tavian. I hope Nyasha is answered. What measures or mechanism is the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange put in place to ensure compliance with financial reporting standards and prevent issues similar to those encountered by Truworths Private Limited? Perhaps Marjorie can assist.
Okay, thank you for that, Sandra. I think at the beginning of my presentation, I talked a bit on the services that we do offer, and one of them being regulatory services. And this regulation includes regulating listed issuers on our exchange. So in terms of compliance with financial reporting standards, through our issuer regulation department, we always communicate with them formally on what is expected of them in terms of reporting their financials for public consumption. And we also have rules that they are governed by with continuing obligations that they always have to meet. And in case there is information that that has influence on the share price or valuation of the company, they are also asked to disclose in time to the public to make sure that the market is fair and everyone has adequate information in order to make informative decisions.
Thank you very much, Marjorie. And then Dean is saying the stockbrokers, and they pricey to consult because some of us are still small and trying to grow. Tavian, that's for you. Dean is saying, are you not pricey to consult?
Not at all. The same gazetted charges that you actually see on your when you buy, we don't do any extra cost, not any extra cent above that. We only get that commission that is been gazetted at 0.92%. Aside from that 0.92%, we are at your service at any time. We don't charge anything. You can call us. You can come to our offices. We are at the hand of the chase. We actually save you at no cost at all.
Thank you, Tavian. The next one is from Hop. I think this one is for Kelvin. It's an interesting one. Which listed companies, at least top 5, are worth starting off?
Oh, thank you. That's a very interesting question. Hope. So the decision on which specific counters depends on two factors. Number one, the fundamental analysis, and then the technical analysis. So today, there could be counters that are worth investing in today to start with. But tomorrow, that list of counters could have changed. So at any given time, there will be a select number of counters. And in any case, when you invest as an investor, no two customers are the same, or no two investors are the same. One investor may have a different objective from another investor. One investor may say, what I'm looking for is income. As I mentioned earlier on, there are three objectives for investing. If your objective is to earn income, then we will recommend dividend-paying stocks for you. But if your investment objective is capital appreciation, then we'll identify counters that are undervalued for you. If your objective is preservation, then we'll recommend 5 counters that have a capital preservation characteristic to them. So this is not a question that we can just answer and say, no, buy such and such a counter or buy these counters. We need to understand what your objective is and what time horizon you have, and also how much risk you can also assume or tolerate. It's very important to have that perspective before you decide on which counters to invest. For example, if you are young and you have plenty of time before you retire, and you are looking at investing for the sake of retirement, then you have plenty of time, and the counters that we can recommend for you are different from the gentleman or the lady out to retire, and they don't have much time in terms of their investment horizon. So the counters that we will recommend for them are totally different for the counters that we will recommend for the young person. So no two investors are the same. Therefore, we cannot just start by prescribing 5 counters for you. But if you are ready and you're willing, we can always assist you by having a small interview with you to understand the time horizon, your objective, and also your risk tolerance. Then we can recommend 5 specific counters for you. And it does not necessarily have to be 5 counters. It may be 2 counters, it may be 3, it may be 6, depending on the amount of money that you also have, to start with. But having mentioned that, the beauty about our markets now is that they are starting to deepen, which means that they are what are called exchange-traded funds, which are a collection of a number of stocks, and that collection is a fund, and that fund has its own characteristics as well. And it can also help you to achieve certain objectives. So, we cannot answer, by giving you specific counters now, but we can only answer after having conducted a specific interview with you to understand your overall context. Then we can make recommendations for you. And we're happy to do that for you, should you be willing. Back to you, Sandra.
Thank you very much, Kelvin. I hope you are answered. The next one is from Amso, and then this one is a question for Tapu, saying how many companies are trading on the VFX and is it liquid?
Thank you so much, Sandra, for the question, and thank you, Emson, for the very good question. So, as I had said earlier, on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, currently we have 14 listings that are available for trading, and it comprises of 11 equity instruments, 2 deposit receipts, and 1 bond that is listed on the exchange. Moving on to the next part of the question, which talks about liquidity. I can say that when measuring liquidity, we are mostly concerned with 3 aspects, especially when considering the liquidity of VFEX. And the first one is turnover. So turnover for VFEX has increased significantly over the years, and we are noticing investor confidence more and more as we are trading on VFEX. And I can say that the average liquidity for VFEX over the past 2 months here in 2024 has been over 4 million in terms of monthly average turnover. and the number of trades as well has increased significantly. When it comes to trading on VFX, we have reached more than 969 trades on an average basis for VFX. So I can say that when it comes to the liquidity of VFX, it is sufficiently liquid, and we continue to improve the market and make sure that it is more liquid compared to what it is now. Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you, Taku, for your response. There's a question from Agnes. Kelvin, good point. What is your objective in investing or placing under the mattress?
Thanks for that. I don't know if I've understood that. So if you're placing your money under the mattress, chances are that your objective is to preserve your money. So it becomes capital preservation. The question now is, how effective is that strategy for capital preservation? So number one, let's remember that suppose you have invested, you have you've placed US dollars under the mattress. The perception is that I've preserved my money. But if the truth be said, there is inflation that is actually taking place in the United States of America, which means that there's a marginal loss of value of that US dollar. But if you compare with other currencies that are not as stable as the US dollar, it appears like there's preservation. But in essence, there's a slight loss of value to it. That's why we then recommend that the money must be invested in such a way that it begins to earn a return that is higher than the rate of inflation, so that you do not earn negative real returns. That's how I would put it across. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. I see there's also another question for you from Daniel. He's saying, when using investment managers, are there guarantees of no losses, that there will be no losses made in major shift in the market? Do they hedge against such?
Thanks for that. That's a good question. The only guarantee is that there are no guarantees. So the way I would put it across is, as investment managers, we do our best to ensure that we hedge against inflation. I'll give you a simple example. Number one, real estate. Real estate is an asset class that enables you to hedge against inflation. And the beauty about now our markets, in the year I'm talking about the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, the Victoria Stock Exchange, they now have real estate investment trusts, which are real estate investments where we can participate with relatively small amounts of money. So from that perspective, the real estate itself is a hedge against inflation. Let's go to listed equities. I also like listed equities because some of the companies that we're investing in, which are listed on the stock exchanges, they have underlying assets such as real estate, motor vehicles, stock in the sense of the products that they're offering. So even where there's inflation, the underlying assets are also moving up in terms of price along with inflation. So it should also reflect even in the share price. So for that reason, they are hedging capabilities there. So as investment managers, we do have the capabilities to do our best in terms of assisting our clients to hedge against inflation. But in terms of giving a guarantee, we cannot exactly give a guarantee because markets are not efficient. Sometimes the stock market lags behind inflation, and in some cases, the stock market is way ahead of inflation, as we experienced from 2019 all the way up to part of 2022. And even now, we're also seeing that there's a level of protection against inflation by investing in carefully selected stocks on the stock exchanges. Back to you, Sandra.
Sandra, I think you're muted.
Apologies. Apologies, I think I was talking to myself. I was saying the next question is for Tavian. What mechanisms are in place to keep one's eye on the market performance? For Zimbabweans living outside the country, how are they catered for in terms of signing up and enabling them to trade?
Okay. I think we have spoken about the digital platform, which ZSE has actually enabled clients to be onboarded digitally across anywhere in any country. So that's number one. You can be able to be onboarded wherever you are, as long as you can access that link. You should be able to be onboarded on the ZSC. And then make sure that you also have, if you are on the ZSC, make sure that you have also a local Zimbabwean bank account in cases where dividends are declared, and also in cases where maybe you actually have done a sale of your shares, so that it can be credited. And unfortunately, we can't be able to remit the ZWL to wherever you are, be it in Australia or in Europe or something like that. We can't be able to do that. But you need to have a local, if you're on the ZSC, have a local Zimbabwean bank account. And then as all mutual securities, we also, as brokers and also all mutual securities, and also I think ZSC, they do publish the share price on a daily, on a daily basis once the trading is done. So, and the mutual securities will also circulate some material that you can also be, which helps you to keep an eye on your portfolio. And as soon as you get the price sheet, you can actually plug in the price, the prices for the shares that you have bought it for your portfolio. So that helps you to keep an eye. And if you're on the digital platform, you can also see what's happening on the market. I think basically that's it. I hope I've answered the participant. Back to you, Sandra.
Okay, thank you very much, Tavian. The next question that we have, Marjorie, may you take that? It says this: ZSE can charge a fee for early settlement to mitigate against delays in settlement of sale proceeds or withdrawing because of the T+3 window. A number of people won't mind paying a small fee for this convenience, not aware of the reconciliation challenges this might present in the background.
Thank you for that question. So, the functionality of early settlement is already available, and particularly on ZSE Direct, it's actually automatic. Whenever you sell your shares, they settle at T+0. So if you buy your shares today in today's trading session, once the trading session is closed and the day-end schedule is run, the money for the shares that you sold should reflect in your account at T+0. That's automatic. And there's a minimal charge of 2% of the profits that you're supposed to get. And also, if you have traded directly through the broker, there is that option. You can get in touch with your broker, notify them that you want an early settlement, and I'm sure Tavian can maybe take you through the process of what they do after you've received any settlement of the trade that you have done on that particular day.
Okay, so once if you have done it digitally, once you have sold your shares and you have successfully managed to dispose your shares, on the third day, you should be able to be paid your funds. We, the stockbrokers, make sure the movements of funds is happening between us and the ZSE direct lines. But if you have done it directly with us as stockbrokers, we actually pay you on the third day from our own accounts department as brokers.
All right, thank you very much. Perhaps the next one is for Marjorie as well, saying, I have heard you talking about ZSE Direct and VFX Direct. So is C-Trade authentic?
Yes, C-Trade is an authentic platform. It was established, I think, back in around 2017, around that time, 2017, 2018. So it's very legit, and you can get access to our VFEX and ZSE market through that platform.
Thank you very much, Judy, for that response. This one is for Taku. Does it work to have different brokers on ZSE and VFX, or is it supposed to be one broker for both?
Thank you so much, Sandra. Yes, it works to have different brokers on ZSE and VFX Direct, as long as the client is willing to have different brokers on both platforms. So one of the other issues is with regards to migrations from the ZSE to the VFX. So it's a matter of what Tavian has said and Mercury, both of them, they've properly narrated how the migration process works. And if you have counters that have migrated, they'll just be transferred to your new broker on the VFX account. But you're not limited to having one broker on both platforms. You can have two different brokers on these platforms. Thank you, Sandra.
All right, thank you very much, Taku. Before I proceed to my next question, let me just say that thank you so much, our attendees, for your overwhelming participating in the chat box. And I am going through all the questions that are in the chat box, and I'm observing the ones that are most active, and I'll be in touch with them to collect their goodies. So the next question is from Charles. He's saying the ZSE launched the Zimbabwe National Stock Market Index. How are we retail investors benefiting from this index to make better investments, and how can we access the platform?
Thanks, Sandra. So ZSE launched the the National Stock Market Index on the 1st of January this year. So the whole idea behind this index is just to track how the capital market as a whole is performing. So this index is counters, all the counters that are listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, all the counters listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, and counters listed on the FinSec. So it just gives you a general idea of how stocks listed on these exchanges are performing on a daily basis. So we do not necessarily have a platform or a system that you can access the National Stock Market Index, but on a daily basis on our social media platforms, on our website, we publish all indices that we track as the ZSE. So maybe for you to have a record, you can just at the end of every trading session, we try to make sure that by 3 p.m. We have updated all the statistics for that particular trading session. So maybe you can just constantly check our website and our social media platforms in order to track how this index is actually performing.
Thank you very much, Judy, for that response. Perhaps in the interest of time at this juncture, if you've got any other questions, please raise your hand. We'll allow you to ask your question. If there's anyone else that has a question that think that it was not addressed or a follow-up question, may you kindly raise your hand. We will allow you to ask your questions. Gulube Mishek, please go ahead.
Thank you, Sandra. I wanted to ask on taxes, what are the taxes when someone is selling the shares?
All right, thank you very much. Marjorie, can you assist in terms of the taxes that are there when one is selling their shares?
All right, thank you, Sandra. So in terms of taxes that are applicable when you're selling your shares, we have the capital gains withholding tax, we have the capital gains tax, and we have the value-added tax. So the value-added tax is 15% of the brokerage commission, and that's a standard statutory cost that you have to pay. And in terms of capital gains withholding tax, it now depends with the time period that you are selling your shares. So, for example, you have bought your shares and you want to dispose of them before a vesting period of 180 days. You are charged a capital gains withholding tax of 4%. But if you decide to sell your shares after 180 days, you are charged a capital gains withholding tax of 1.5%. Then moving forward to the capital gains tax, this is now a taxation charged just on your capital gains, which is the difference between the buying price, the price that you bought your shares at, and the price that you are now selling your shares at. So if you are selling before 180 days, you are charged a 40% capital gains tax on this marginal capital gain that you've got from the time that you bought to now the time that you're selling. And if after 180 days, you're charged a capital gains tax of 4%.
Thank you very much for your response, Majid. I hope, Ngulube, you are answered. And I'm seeing that there's someone in the chat box there that is asking for the contacts of Kelvin Mugabe. Kelvin, if you'd be so kind enough to type in your contact details there so that if there's anyone that has got a follow-up question, can be able to be in contact with you. I'm also seeing back to our hands there. I'm seeing Tatenda, you raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Sandra. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
I wanted to ask, at what stage should one consider selling their stock in order for them to get more returns? I'm not sure if this question was asked and answered as well, because there's a time when I was put it out.
All right, thank you very much for that question. Perhaps allow me to throw that question to Tavian.
Thanks, Tatenda, for the question. Been quoted Warren Buffett when he says, but that also comes to you when you've done your technical analysis. There are times that when you like price is over in an overbought territory, that's when you also need to have your charts that you check when is the right time to sell delta or when is the right time to sell a particular stock. So I would say it boils down to the technical analysis where you can actually see the entry and the exit point of a certain counter, because it also boils down to when you enter that particular stock, and given what Major shared in terms of charges, for example, if I can just give you an example in terms of the ZSE part of it, whereby you find the total is come to 1.693%, and then the total sale charges go up to the total sale charges are 2.943%, depending that you've held your shares for more than 180 days. If it's not more than 180 days, it's actually slightly bigger than that, more than that. So your break-even point comes when your total buy and your total sell, the share price is moved by the total buy cost, transaction cost, and the total for the buy and sell transaction costs. For example, if you had held your shares for more than 180 days, I would say around 4.4% or 4.6% when the share price is moved by above 4.6%. But at the same time, we also have to check in terms of compare it in US dollar terms. You bought it at whatever rate, where is the rate at, and has it really moved in terms, have you really gained in terms of your in terms of share price movement. But first of all, make sure that you have covered your, because most of you guys, you actually your costs are the total to sell and the total to buy, and also compare in terms of, has it really moved in terms of USD terms. This particular time, delta at this price in USD terms, the price, and then now where is the price at the particular moment. So it's a lot of things. If in doubt, you can also check the broker to say, I bought this share at this particular time. Can maybe take me through on how to see where I can exit. But first protocol, make sure that you've covered your costs. Don't sell below your cost. Make sure that you're on a break-even point.
Thank you very much. I hope Tatinda you are answered. I'm also seeing there's a hand there, but I can't really see who it is. May you please go ahead and ask your question?
My name is Pedro Mugambe. I have a share certificate. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
I have a share certificate and I want to convert those shares and set them on ZES. How do I go about it?
All right, thank you very much for that question. Major, may you kindly assist?
Okay. For those who have physical share certificates, now because trading is happening electronically, it means that that share certificate has to be dematerialized. And to do so, maybe you can find out who the transfer secretary of that company is. You can approach them and they will help you dematerialize all those shares on your share certificate into electronic form together with the respective depository where that transfer actually is. So it's just a matter of you approaching the transfer secretary of that company and they will help you from there.
Thank you very much. I hope you are answered. Is that another hand that I am seeing? If it's a different hand, may you kindly go ahead and ask?
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm sorry, maybe I didn't hear you answering my question, but I have a question. I've heard you talking about ZSE Direct and VFX Direct, but I'm not sure about C-Trade. Is it still authentic?
Please, Major, may you kindly assist?
Okay, maybe you missed when I responded to this, but yes, we have confirmed C-Trade is authentic and it was actually established before the establishment of the ZSE and VFEX Direct. So all those three platforms, they do work. You can get access to our markets through C-Trade or the direct platforms. It's just a matter of you choosing which one you want to use, but we can confirm it's authentic and still works.
All right, thank you very much for your response. I'm seeing there are quite a number of questions which are related to the VFX Direct platform as well as the ZSE Direct platform in terms of some issues that people are having. I have typed in the email address for the VFX Direct team as well as the ZSE Direct team. May you kindly be in touch with them so that they can be able to further assist. We have also noted that there's a need for us perhaps to have more trainings on these platforms, which we have also taken note, and we will be having in the near future. Is there still a question? And is there anyone that has their hand up, who's raised their hand, who has a question? Perhaps that would be the last question of the day. I'm seeing a hand. If it's a different hand, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I have a question. What are the procedures for the foreign investors to remit their dividends to their home country? And of lately, are we getting foreign investors to invest through our VSE and the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Perhaps, Tavian, you can assist.
Okay, in terms of dividends, as long as the client has supplied for example, if the dividend is in USD, we can remit that USD dividend because this is paid by the transfer secretary of whatever company has declared the dividend. So make sure that, for example, if Delta declares a dividend and you don't get your dividends into your Nostro account, as long as the USD dividend, you need to contact your broker so that they can actually, or you can contact the transfer secretaries if you know them. But you can contact a broker, then you can direct you to the respective transfer secretaries. But some of them, they don't have your banking details on their on book. So you need to make sure that you submit your banking details so that they can actually pay the dividends into your account. But for the ZWL dividends, unfortunately, we can't pay across. You need to have, that's why I said earlier on, you need a local Zimbabwean account for you to get that dividend. And yes, we do have foreigners that do buy on the both the VFX and also the ZSE. They actually have got, and some of them have got custodians that are warehoused within Zimbabwe, like your Stanbic custodians. So we do have foreigners that do participate on that market, and I'm sure if you check the price sheet, you actually have a section where they actually say foreign trades, so much value is being traded by the foreigners. They were selling so much, they were buying so much. So yes, we do have. But in terms of dividend remittance, it's either when it's declared, the transfer secretaries doesn't have your banking details on book. So you can contact ask the broker, we update your banking details and send it to the TSEC so that they can pay you dividends. I hope I've answered you.
Thank you very much for that response. I think in the interest of time, we might need to call it a day. Perhaps let me be nice enough to take one last burning question. If you have got a question that you feel that it is really, really burning, it might be able to assist a lot of people. Please go ahead. One last question.
Thank you, Sandra. I have just one question. Has the ZSE made any effort to promote derivative markets as an important tool for hedging against macroeconomic risk, for example, issue of inflation and other policy inconsistencies? If so, what specific steps have been taken in this regard?
All right, thank you very much for that question. It is indeed a very good question. So I think perhaps as you might have come across the news in the papers that the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange is currently working on a commodities exchange. So we're hoping that as we progress with the commodities exchange and as we implement the infrastructure for the commodities exchange, we'll be able to launch a derivatives market in the process. I do hope that you are answered. So let me take this moment and time to thank all the attendees for attending this webinar. Thank you so much for putting time from your busy schedules to come and attend this event. It was indeed an honor to host you today in this webinar. Let me also take this chance to thank my panelists. Thank you so much for answering the questions that were here. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for setting time aside from your busy schedules. Thank you, Tavian. Thank you, Tekuzgwa. Thank you, Mejuri, and thank you, Calvin. So I think for the moment that we have all been waiting for our winners. So as I mentioned when we started this webinar, that we do have goodies that are there in place. So I've noted a few names that I have here with me of people that actually will be getting the few goodies from Old Mutual. So perhaps I would like to congratulate these 4 individuals for participating. So please bear with me if you do not manage to win anything, but we'll be in touch with those individuals soon after this webinar. Otherwise, thank you so much for setting time from your busy schedules. Please do enjoy the rest of the day and have a pleasant week. Bye.